Today I'm sharing with you 4 of the best meatball recipes. You're not gonna wanna miss it. So the first recipe I'm making today are meatball sliders. Now we're gonna use cooked perfect meatballs. These are the Italian style ones. So because I am making 18 sliders, I'm gonna count out 18 meatballs. So this recipe works if you have a small family, if you only wanna make 6, or if you wanna make 24, you could do that too. So yeah, 18, we're good. Next I'm gonna add a 24-ounce jar of marinara sauce. If you're going to do 24 meatballs, you can still use a 24-ounce jar. If you're gonna use less, go ahead and only use half of your marinara jar. Now I'm cooking these on medium-high heat and just kind of mixing them around for a few minutes just to make sure all the meatballs are covered in the marinara sauce. Now as it starts to simmer, I'm going to put the lid on and let it simmer for about 10 minutes. Now when they're all done cooking, I'm going to pull them off and set them to the side. So while my meatballs were cooking, that's when I got my rolls ready. So I have 18 rolls in my big pan. Hawaiian rolls are my favorite when making sliders. Now, part of my prep was slicing the rolls, so I sliced them off into 6s. Now I'm going to place one meatball on top of each bottom roll. So now that I have a meatball on each one, I'm going to start putting the sauce on. So I'm not really measuring anything, I'm just going to try it and put a little bit of sauce onto each meatball, kind of letting it slide down and cover the bun. Now, you can't have sliders without the cheese, so I have 1 cup of mozzarella I'm putting on, and then also 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese that I'm just spreading around the top. Then you're just going to place your buns right back on top. Now for the top of the sliders, you're going to take 3 tablespoons of melted butter, add a ½ teaspoon of salt and a ½ teaspoon of pepper, 1/4 cup of Parmesan, and then you're going to mix it really well. You can use the fine Parmesan, but I love the shredded Parmesan on top of my sliders. Now you're just going to spread your topping all over. It doesn't have to be very pretty because it's just all going to melt into that bun anyways. Now they are ready to cook, so you're going to bake them at 375 degrees for 10 minutes with the foil on. After that 10 minutes, you're going to take it off and you're going to cook it for 2 to 3 more minutes. Be sure to watch it so it doesn't burn. Now when they're all done, you're going to let them cool for a few minutes before cutting into them. Now, my advice is don't sneak a bite until dinner time or you'll end up eating a few of them. Now, this is the perfect, quick, and fast recipe for dinner if you're looking for a good one. These meatballs make it so easy. On to recipe number 2, Swedish meatballs. Now, I'm going to start with the cooked perfect meatballs in the bottom of my pressure cooker. Now, using these meatballs, since they're pre-cooked in a pressure cooker, makes them so easy to use. So go ahead and just dump the whole thing in. Next, I'm going to add 1 whole chopped onion, 2 tablespoons of steak sauce. Now you're going to add a ½ teaspoon of all of these: salt, pepper, paprika, and garlic salt. On top of that, you're going to add 1 can of cream of mushroom soup. Then add 2 cups of beef broth. I kind of just eyeballed it. Then you're just going to mix it up a little bit. You don't have to do a ton of mixing, but just to spread things around a little. Alright, when you're all done, you're going to put the lid on top and make sure it's on sealing. Then you're going to cook it for 10 minutes in your pressure cooker. If you're using a slow cooker, it's going to be the same recipe, but just 6 hours on low. Now when it's all done, you can do a quick release or release on its own, and you just take the lid right off, mix it up. I love to serve mine over mashed potatoes. Alright, recipe number 3, and one of my favorites, sweet and sour meatballs. Alright, first we're going to chop the vegetables. I already chopped my red pepper and my onion. And now I'm just going to chop my green pepper. So I'm going to show you how I do it. So I kind of just chop off the sides, so then I really don't have to deal with any of the seeds. So I'm just going to chop it into pretty big chunks because sweet and sour, you want to be able to actually see the vegetables. Alright, I'm all done chopping, and I'm going to scoot things over and pull up my pressure cooker again. So I'm going to pull out my cooked perfect meatballs. Now as you're looking at the store, you'll find these at Walmart on the frozen aisle. And you can't miss them because of the green, white, and red packaging. They just stand out. Now, like the other recipe, we're gonna put the meatballs on the bottom of my pressure cooker. I'm gonna add all my vegetables next that I already chopped up. Then I'm gonna add 1/4 of brown sugar just right on top. Next, you're gonna add 1/4 cup of soy sauce and then 1 10-ounce jar of sweet and sour sauce. Next, I have a 20-ounce can of pineapple chunks. If you are cooking with a pressure cooker, make sure you add all of the juice in. If you're cooking with a slow cooker, you want to drain your pineapple first, then add your pineapple. And lastly, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. Now, if you're using a pressure cooker, you're also going to add 1/2 cup of water. All right, you're going to put your lid on, make sure it's on sealing, and you're going to cook it for 10 minutes on manual. If you're using a slow cooker, 6 hours on low. Now, as you can see above, I did a quick release. You don't have to do quick release if you don't want to. When you're done, you're just going to stir it around. Oh, it is so good. I like to serve mine on top of rice. Now, our last recipe is called brown sugar meatballs. Again, I'm using the home-style cooked perfect meatballs. I love it because they are flame broiled, already cooked, so all you really have to do is heat them up. So I'm going to dump them onto the bottom of my pan. I'm going to turn my heat to medium-high heat, add about 1/2 cup of water, and let them cook for a little bit. While those are cooking, I'm going to make my brown sugar glaze by using 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of milk, 2 tablespoons of vinegar, and then 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. Then you're just going to mix that up until it starts to simmer. Once it's simmering, you can take it right off the stovetop and put it onto your meatballs. This is the perfect recipe if you just need a meal in about 12 minutes. That's how fast it is. I'm just going to stir around the sauce so it can cover each meatball. Then I'm going to put my lid on top and let it simmer a little bit. Now once the meatballs are heated all the way through, you are ready to serve them. Now I like to serve mine on toothpicks, but I also like to serve mine on rice. Either way is delicious. Now be sure to check out your local Walmart because Cooked Perfect has all kinds of different flavors. So I hope you love our meatball recipes. I would love to hear what you guys have on a busy weeknight that is fast and easy and that your kids will actually eat. All right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I'll see you later.